Plastic Pact for taking this move, taking this on seriously, believing and sharing in this vision, because without you, this pact wouldn't really work. So congratulations. And with that, I thank all of you for being part of this launch. I believe we will be the beginning of a fulfilling journey towards a circular economy for plastics, and Kenya can truly be the poster child for the continent.
Thank you so much for your encouraging words. I completely echo what you just said, so thank you so much for that. I like to also introduce Honorable Ambassador for the Netherlands to Kenya, Mr. Brouwer, for sharing with us why also the Netherlands is supporting a circular economy for plastics, and already done that for a couple of years with us, even before we reached to this point where we are developing the Plastic Pact in Kenya. And again, we're very proud to be the second pact in Africa and really trying to lead the way. So would like to hear from you why the Netherlands already believed in all of this before we've created it.
Thank you so much, Karen. And it's really a pleasure of being here today. And it's a pleasure because the fact that we are now here talking about the launch of the Kenya Plastic Pact is another sign that the awareness of the problem that plastic generates is increasing. Let me just very practically, it is increasing because if you look at the annual World Cleanup Day that's usually held in September, we can see also that more and more people are engaged in cleanups, becoming aware of the necessity to reduce and reuse and recycle plastics. And at the same time, we can also see that from all garbage that was selected in the Netherlands on that day, still 70% were items of plastic. And it shows that even though the awareness is increasing, the problem is still there, and a lot needs to be done. And that's why I think talking about the launch of the Kenya Plastic Pact is so opportune and well timed. Good news is that of the 37% of the plastic bottles that were found. That of the garbage, of the plastic that was found, 37% were plastic bottles. And that was much smaller than it was in the past. And that is because in the Netherlands, we had the introduction of a mandatory deposit and return system for small bottles. So here you see already that by actions of government, by private actions, changes can be started up. I would like to underline that the importance to circular economy for three planetary crises at the same time. As one is the climate change, the other is the biodiversity loss, and the third one is pollution. And if we want to move towards a more circular plastic economy, we will have to reduce the amounts of plastic burned or thrown into our forests or rivers or oceans. And it will mitigate the unnecessary production and use of new fossil plastics as well, becoming smart and efficient in our use and reuse of those valuable materials. So we know ways forward. We can do it ourselves. We really need all of us to look at how can we limit the use of plastic and how can we avoid using avoidable plastics. That's what we can do ourselves. There's also something the government can do. I will come back to that. But if you think, for instance, in pricing and taxing systems, there's a lot to be done from their part. But also from the private sector part. And that is because the circular approaches, they provide new economic and new business opportunities. Smarter use of resource isn't just good for the planet, it's also good for business. And especially by creating new value from waste. And I think that maybe is a key word, just to avoid waste. And that's true for plastic, but it's true for many other things. And that idea that waste has a value in itself is at the heart of circular economy. And I think it's something that we should advocate more and more and more. While the ambition also with the Kenyan plastic here is very, very high, the Netherlands, and that's also where the ambition is high, but the Netherlands, well, we started the journey to a fully circular and climate neutral economy in 2050. Recognizing our material footprint is very high. So yes, you have your ambitions here with the Plastic Pact. Also in the Netherlands, we have very high ambitions. And my European colleague already talked about that date of 2015 as being very far away. But if you realize what needs to be happening, that date is very, very ambitious in itself. We've been very active. And for instance, at the last World Circular Economy Forum and Climate Conference in April, we committed ourselves to work with others across the globe to ensure, to the extent possible, that we work towards the inclusion of at least 30% of recycled content on average in new plastic products and packaging by 2030. So also we use these specific targets so that we can monitor how we are doing. It is only with this level of ambition that we can achieve a circular economy, including by rethinking products as far up the value chain as possible. And to get there, we need all relevant stakeholders to move us forward. I already referred briefly to the role of governments, but that's very important. And we have seen it, for instance, with that example I just gave about the deposit and return system for small plastic bottles in the Netherlands. So a lot can be done there. And also what we see is that a lot of innovation on circular economy is happening with startup, with small companies. So to pay attention to that and to help them to scale up their activities and therefore become more important also as partners in the private sector, that is something that is so important. It's also important to invest in compliance and enforcement, typically a role of government, but also private sector can help there. Because in the end, it's all about our own behavior that needs to change. Behavior of producers, of retailers, of consumers, and of governments. Because we all need this realization that no waste should be really our goal. Not producing any waste requires a lot of action and a lot of changes in our behavior. Manufacturers, brand owners, retailers can also contribute a lot to enhancing recycling, but also embracing this circularity by design. Design for repair and disassembly, for reuse and refill to enhance further impact. A lot can be done with design. The design of products itself is a very crucial step in allowing for recycling or allowing for reuse. Imagine what the world would like if there are no bottles, no small sachets of food, drinks, and detergents ending up in our forests, rivers, and oceans. Because always when we are in those areas, we see it. We can see the plastic everywhere. And if plastics are kept longer in the economy through recycling and reuse, or if these bottles and sachets are replaced by refill systems, there's already proof that it can be done. And it can also be done by saving costs. So we need to put it into practice. It is up to all of us to take leadership and create a bold movement in our countries towards circularity. Let's stop talking, come into action, and make actions and achievements of all those who commit transparent in order to prevent greenwashing. I'm therefore very happy to participate in these events, to launch the Kenya Plastic Act, and I hope it will put words into action. We've had a long-standing collaboration with both SIB and CAPSA to promote sustainable and circular business practices. We've provided export support to the waste management and extended producer responsibility regulations and the Kenya Producer Responsibility Organization, Epr, to support the transition to circular approaches in Kenya. I commend the work of all these stakeholders. You are really doing a great job. And that includes government, private sector, civil society, organizations who are diligently put their heads together to develop the Kenya Plastic Pact. It is really an important step forward. The Plastic Pact is new to Kenya, but it's not new to the global arena. Several countries, including the Netherlands and the EU, have signed up such pacts with the shared vision, tackle the issue of plastic waste management and pollution at the source. So I see the launch of the KPP as a next step in the ongoing efforts towards a circular economy. It will help strengthen implementation of policies in place, complement CAPRO, and bring together all players in the sector, enable to share experiences and set a concrete target to increase plastic recycling to 30% by 2030. Furthermore, access to the global network will also provide an opportunity for all stakeholders to learn from experiences beyond Kenya. Innovation will be necessary in the transition towards a circular economy. By bringing together manufacturers, collectors, recyclers, there is an opportunity to create innovative solutions that create less problematic plastic waste. You can count on the Netherlands to continue to support the global movement towards a circular economy for plastic. It is the problem of this time. So we need to act. And the fact that there is now a Kenya Plastic Pact is another show of the willingness for Kenya to move further on this issue. And if we can be partners on that, we would be really very happy, because it is so important to deal with it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for your elaborate story, why it's so important to support us on this journey to a circular economy in general and on plastics as well. The MAVA Foundation is actually enabling us to kick off the Plastic Pact, to make this happen and to organize ourselves really well before we take the right action. We would like to listen to why they believe in the Kenyan Plastic Pact and why they support us.
Good morning. First of all, I want to apologize for not being able to join today's event in live. Coincidentally, today I'm participating in an event promoting the circular economy among businesses here in Switzerland. The very idea of helping to shape a new circular economy has and still is our main motivation for funding the activities that have allowed to bring together today those innovative actors that have realized that our current and linear way of producing, using, and finally disposing plastic needs to be rethought, redesigned, and eventually built. We firmly believe that we can create a new economy around plastics, one that maintains or even amplifies its good qualities, but eliminates its downsides. But it needs new forms of collaboration among all actors: business, government, civil society, and everyone involved in the value chain. And those not yet involved, those with the new creative ideas that can create new businesses. We think that the Plastic Pact offers the ideal framework for this interactive collaboration to be fruitful. We also strongly believe that Kenya has an important role to play as an example for the entire continent of Africa. Kenya has already shown exemplary legislative leadership in dealing with single-use plastic. So it is no real surprise that Kenya is also a frontrunner in launching today the second Plastic Pact in Africa. I want to congratulate everyone having worked hard to get us to this point and to encourage you not to give up when it will get difficult in the future. I am convinced that you will generate ideas and solutions that will support better lives, respect the environment, and create profitable businesses with decent jobs. Let's turn the good words of today into real action tomorrow. With my very best wishes from Switzerland, have a good day.
Great, thank you so much. Although it's virtual and a bit far away, we are very happy with the continuous support. Now, on behalf of the CS, Honorable Kyriako Tobiko, who couldn't make it, is here our Honorable Mohammed Elmi, the Chief Administrative Secretary for Environment and Forestry, to officially launch the pact with us. Karibu.
Asante sana. I've been listening to most of the speakers, and I can see there are great ideas and a lot of answers. So I'll read. I bring the greetings of the CS, and I read his speech, and then we launch. You let me know how we do that. It is my great pleasure to be part of this gathering today to launch the Kenya Plastic Pact, which is part of a global plastic pact network. Today's launch marks another milestone to accelerate Kenya's transition from the current linear to a more sustainable and circular economy. I also note with appreciation that this event is happening as one of the sessions in the ongoing annual Sustainable Inclusive Business Conference, whose main focus is circular economy. The government, through the Ministry of Environment, has had a long-standing public-private collaboration and cooperation with the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, KEPSA, in areas of environmental conservation and protection. Through this collaboration, diverse policies and legislations have been developed, as has been mentioned by a number of speakers before. I also applaud the proactive initiative by the private sector, such as the development of the Kenya Plastic Action Plan 2020 and the Kenya Plastic Pact that we are launching today. To achieve a circular economy, I believe that we cannot work singularly, but must come together under a common agenda. I note that the Kenya Plastic Pact intends to bring all the stakeholders in plastics value chain together to pursue a common vision of creating a circular economy for plastics, where it never becomes a waste through an elimination, innovation, and circulation. This will make a major contribution in minimizing the damaging effects of plastics on the environment and build a long-term resilience. Kenya, like many other countries, we are grappling with the plastic waste and the pollution menace. And the devastating effect of COVID-19 have also aggravated the plastic pollution in form of face masks and other personal protective gears. Now, more than ever, we are reminded of the urgent need to implement solution-based initiatives aimed at advancing and transitioning to a more sustainable, climate-neutral, resource-efficient, and circular economy at a global and national levels. Kenya generates a huge amount of waste at a rate of 22,000 metric tons daily. 30% of the total waste collected is plastic and paper that can be recycled for various purposes, but only 8% is currently being recycled. One of the ministry's strategies to deal with these huge volumes of waste is to encourage segregation or at source for ease of collection for recycling and reuse. And therefore, why it is important that the public change their behavior, as the artist has talked about. This initiative comes at a time when we have had extensive engagements with the private sector on the draft Epr regulations, which are about to be enacted soon. The Epr regulations provide that every producer shall bear extended producer responsibility obligation to reduce pollution and environmental impacts of the products that they introduce into the market and the waste arising from there. Ladies and gentlemen, further, the producer shall fulfill their obligation by setting up individual or joining established collective Epr compliance schemes operated through a producer responsibility organizations. The regulations go further to expound the obligations for both the producer and the PROs. It is hence imperative that the Kenya Plastic Pact should enhance fulfillment of Epr obligation, both at the producer and the PRO level. In this regard, I urge the Kenya Plastics Pact initiative to familiarize themselves with these obligations and arrange our operations appropriately. While Epr is a necessary regulatory framework to move forward towards a circular economy, it is not enough in itself and will require to be complemented by a wide set of policies, voluntary industry action, and innovation towards a circular economy. I call on Kenya Plastic Pact initiative to increase the efforts of coordination and collaboration, as well as the flow of financial investment that encourage the expansion of infrastructure for circular and future-proof economy guided by the obligations set in the Epr regulations. Ladies and gentlemen, the launch of the Kenya Plastic Pact comes at a time much desired when the system calls for all relevant stakeholders in the whole value chain to come together to close the loop by promoting and embracing the elimination, the innovation, and circular principles. Through such initiatives as this, I envisage that we shall create a local economy that thrives on our own available resources by encouraging the plastic waste is not a waste, but a resource that is kept in the economy and out of the environment. With those many remarks, I thank you all for being part of this ambitious and collaborative initiative. I also assure all of you of the Ministry's full support in this endeavor. It is now my honor to declare the Kenya Plastic Pact officially launched. Thank you.
Plastic pollution is a global crisis. As much as we are advocating for a global legally binding agreement, we are in full support of the national-led solutions promoted by the Ellen MacArthur Foundation under the auspices of the Plastics Pact. At WWF Kenya, we believe and are fully in support of the Kenya Plastics Pact because it plays a critical role in convening all the stakeholders under a common vision and action plan to promote a circular economy for plastics.
We at L'Oréal East Africa are proud to join the Kenya Plastics Pact. As part of our sustainability program, L'Oréal for the Future, we are taking ambitious measures towards a circular economy on the packaging front, such as, by 2025, 100% of our plastic packaging will be refillable, reusable, recyclable, or compostable. By 2030, 100% of the plastic used in our packaging will be either from recycled or bio-based sources. By 2030, we will reduce by 20% in intensity the quantity of packaging used in our products compared to 2019. To achieve this in Kenya, we know the magnitude of effort and collaboration that will be needed across the entire value stream. Suppliers, converters, brands, consumers, pickers, and recyclers. For this reason, we chose to join the Kenya Plastics Pact, led by the Sustainable Inclusive Business team from KEPSA, with the support of WRAP and the Ellen MacArthur Foundation. We are very excited to share with our key stakeholders from society, industry, and the government to be able to create the future of circular economy in the country. I believe with this organization, we will have the right networks to leverage on learnings from other regions in the world and perhaps also share a few best practices and innovations from our country as well. Thank you.
Karigida, the Quality Assurance Officer for Florence's Kenya Limited. Florence supplies new plant varieties and starting materials for annuals, perennials, pot plants, biennials, and cut flowers. As Florence's, we greatly value responsible business operations with consideration for people and the environment, and that is why our Kenyan branch has joined the Kenya Plastic Pact through the Sustainable Inclusive Business. Our vision in this initiative is to boost our ongoing efforts to reduce and redesign non-eco-friendly items and packaging materials. We believe the partnership and the information provided through the Plastic Pact platform will fast track our journey towards reducing the carbon emissions. We look forward to doing business with you. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Jessica from Empower. We are very happy to be joining the Kenya Plastics Pact together with all the members in order to tackle the plastic waste problem in Kenya as we are at the front line. Empower is a Norwegian startup building digital tools for transparency and traceability throughout the entire plastic value chain. With our tools, we are able to incentivize and crowdsource the collection of waste in local communities, improving segregation at source, recycling rates, but also the livelihoods of the local waste pickers. We will track the collected plastic throughout the supply chain and digitize the waste streams and helping brands and producers gaining an overview of the waste streams as well as being able to source the traceable recycled materials. So once again, congratulations on the launch, and we look forward to collaborating together, achieving great milestones in the coming months.
Well, congratulations. I saw the video you played. Very, very nice. Congratulations to everyone who's here, for all those who have participated, from myself, from Priya Antenna of Kepro, from Jonah Nyange, from Obed, from Peter Njonjo, from a lot of people, Evelyn, Nancy, Grace, I see you all. Congratulations to all of us for the work we have done, for the input we have had. Thank you so much to all our speakers. We appreciate it. And I'm very happy to introduce somebody who's going to speak well about all the people who have done a great job. KTN host Jesse Rogers is going to come and mention the names of all the supporters and funding members of the Kenya Plastics Pact. Jesse, are you here? Jesse, are you on mute? That's the new way of finding out if people are around in the building or not. Before we used to ask and look into the crowd. Now we're just checking if they're on mute or not. Is Jesse, are you here? Karen, I don't see Jesse in my list. There you go, there you go. I don't see Jesse in the list. I can see a screen share though. But I don't want to spoil, you know, I have good voice. Jesse's.
Hello, can you hear me now?
There you go. See, I told you Jesse's better. There you go, Jesse. Yes. Do the thing, bro. Do the thing.
Okay. Apologies for that short mishap, but congratulations are definitely in order. And at the time of the launch, the Kenya Plastics Pact membership already covered the entire plastic value chain with leading organizations from across the country. And it's my great pleasure to officially unveil the Kenya Plastics Pact founding members. And it's a long list, so allow me to read through. And this is definitely good news as it shows the members have ranged in the entire value chain. I'll start with L'Oreal East Africa, who are part of the founding members in the Kenya Plastic Pact. We're also joined by Bidco Group, Coca-Cola as well. Biofoods are also on board. Seal Africa, Vince Plastics, Rinse Industries, Recycler International, Green Pavers, Takataka Solutions, Base Titanium, EcoCycle Enterprises, Florensis, Empower Eco, EcoWorld Recycling, and Trash Thread Textiles, better known as T3. So those are the founding members. The pact is officially supported by the Kenyan government through the Ministry of Environment, and also on board the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, better known as KEPSA. We're also joined by the Kenya Extended Producer Responsibility Organization, better known by the initials KEPRO. Also on board, the Kenya Association of Manufacturers, we had from them earlier on, the Retail Trade Association of Kenya, better known as RITRAC, WWF Kenya, the Worldwide Fund Kenya is also on board, WeCenter, who are known better as the Waste, Electrical and Electronic Equipment Center. We're equally joined by Together for Better Foundation, Terianjani Africa, the Kenya Pet Recycling Company, better known as PETCO as well, the Nairobi Waste Pickers Association, and last but definitely not least, we have the Ajira Digital and Empowerment Program, who are officially supporters of this particular initiative. And I'd like to congratulate all the founding members and the support partners as well for trying to lead the way. And as mentioned, this is the second plastic pact in Africa. So congratulations for believing and sharing in the vision as we get closer to achieving the circular economy for plastics. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Nice. You see, for you, we are doing these things. I know I look young, but it will be deceiving. It is deceiving. Thank you very much, Jesse. I appreciate that very much for your time and for mentioning them so well. And also, you've mentioned something important. The second in the continent. I love it that Kenya is always up there with the best of them, unless it's it's a marathon where we always beat everyone. But this is nice. It's not bad. Second is not bad. It's definitely not second. It's nice. And Karen, we have gone through quite a list of people. We've had a great conversation with everyone. And now I'm curious, now that we have we actually have kept time, which I'm very happy about. What do you feel having, this is day one, we definitely have day two tomorrow. As this conversation has gone, as it's worked out, looking at all the texts, the conversation, the involvement with 173 almost people, what is your sense of the Kenya Plastic Pact and how it's going to take off? How are you seeing this looking like in the next 2, 3, 7 weeks, months, years?
Thank you very much. Yes, as everyone is keen to actually address is that we've talked about a lot of things. We know it's needed, and now it's time for action. So after the launch, we're going to create working groups and define how we're going to meet those targets. So we're defining a roadmap that is going to be designed with all of us. So all the stakeholders say, okay, that's the way to go. If we talk about elimination, if we talk about circulation, if we talk about 100% recyclability, and we look at all those targets, 40% recycled and 15%, how are we going to do that? So collectively, we're going to decide what the best way to do it is, and then we start to act. So I can't wait. We're officially kicked off, so we can start working. It doesn't mean that with the founding members, we stop people from joining. So please join. I would like to highlight that tomorrow we have some deep dive sessions on specific topics within the circular economy. And one of it is the Kenyan Plastic Pact. So if you want to know more and how it's going to work out, and you haven't been part of it yet, or you know someone who's crucial in this value chain, that represents a business, an organization, an association to drive the change, please join us tomorrow for this session, and we are happy to share more of how and what we're going to do in the next coming weeks. So thank you for that. I think we have time, and we make time to receive questions, to have a session on questions and answers just now before we have closing remarks and key messages shared by my team. So I would like to invite you and the rest of the speakers to actually address the questions we have in the chat box and others that come to us just now.
Yes, I can see a few of them. The first one is pretty quick. Peter is asking, how do we sign in? How do we participate? How do we engage in this? Do you have an answer to that?
Yes, we have sign-up forms. So one is a sign-up form for members, and members are paying members. There are organizations, businesses that make money, profits, and that they can share a percentage of to actually facilitate action. And we have supporters. They are non-paying members. They are supporters because they represent an association or an organization or community-based society. So the businesses are paying members, and the supporters are in all other organizations that do not represent a for-profit business. So we have that. It's key that you do represent an impact in the plastics packaging value chain. So as much as we want to work with everyone in the world, we need to focus on the people that are actually now having the impact and want to change the situation as it is towards a circular economy.
Nice, that's a good. Is there a website or a link or a place people can go directly where they can get to?
Yes, we will share the link. It's kpp.or.ke. It will be in the last slide of our presentation as well. One of the key messages, how to find us. And the website is live, so you can have a look at that and keep in touch with us.
Nice, very good one. There's somebody here speaking about, please ask questions, by the way, everyone. Please do ask questions. There's training for magistrates in environmental laws and setting up eco-courts. If anybody's interested in doing that, please get in touch with Sheikh Mohammed Khan, m.banuri@yahoo.com, m.bannuri@yahoo.com. That's actually interesting, Yahoo. I haven't heard that in a while. Anyone else have any questions? You want to put up your hand? You want to text? You want to ask something? Please do. We have most of our speakers still in the room, so very happy to respond to that. Anyone else has something to ask? I have a question though. I'd like to know. I think it's going pretty clearly. I'm concerned about, just as people asking, and yes, the link has been put up there, kpp.or.ke. You can go and find that in the chat. I'm also answering some of those questions. I'm curious about two things based on what we're speaking about. The Dr. Macharia put out it wasn't really a suggestion. He kind of said that there's a part where the government can play a role and there's a part where people can play a role. And there's policy that's been put in place to support companies and the like, but there's also stuff that people need to do in general. Karen, my question to you is very specific to the way we enforce environmental rules and laws. Is there anything you're seeing as part of the Kenya Plastic Pact that is going to be put out that is going to then become policy? For example, single-use plastics and the ban of that, things like straws, bottles and the like, and a move from plastic to glass or something more reusable. Do you think that that kind of legislation is necessary for this to make sense?
Yeah, currently we have a ban on single-use plastics or specific items in restricted areas. As a pact, we also look at, again, not per se what can we all ban, but actually what is really unnecessary and problematic, and we need to eliminate. And collectively, we need to shape that list. That list could be, it's focusing on plastic packaging, so you have to bear that in mind. And we can look at that and what's manageable for us to actually eliminate and to turn into either reuse or recycled materials, or we eliminate in general. And that's one of the targets we are having and working towards. And that could support regulations, laws and initiatives that are initiated by the government. Same counts for EPR. It will soon be a legal obligation to be part of a producer responsibility organization. But how do we really implement that? And how do we make sure everyone understands and that it's also being smoothly implemented and workable? And that might require improving the value chain of recycling. And we can support and develop activities around that. So yes, and those are the two targets. So yes, definitely, we will have influence or can support and boost legislation and regulation that come from the government.
Nice. Thank you very much for that, Karen. So I see a question from Peter. As I read further questions, let me just run through a couple of things people have said on the chat. From the Kenya Private Sector Alliance, there's the pact membership is still open to all those interested in joining as members and supporters. Please email us at josephine@sustainableinclusivebusiness.org, josephine@sustainableinclusivebusiness.org, or communications@kpp.org. communications@kpp.or.ke. Lillian Marais is also here from Growth Africa. They're working with SMEs, small and medium-sized enterprises, to encourage them or integrate them to circular business models and to be part of the movement. Then there's a lot of great congratulations, which is very nice to see from everyone. And a couple of companies to mention. I'm going to be mentioning that in a moment. But I see a lot of packaging professionals here, WPO, World Packaging Organization, APO, African Packaging Organization, and all of these. I think packaging is one of those things we really need to talk about, because 95% of all the things we are receiving at home, especially after COVID or during and after COVID, come in plastics. And because predominantly many of them are food items or hygiene matters, plastic is a preferred packaging tool to make sure they stay hygienic and they last a longer time. So packaging organizations are definitely key to this. Okay, so Peter is asking, is asking, to achieve this objective, there is need to embrace grassroots organizations like CBOs. How do you ensure that these non-profit organizations are supported to create bigger impact? So basically, how do you make sure, because this is a grassroots event, me throwing something like Julianne was talking about earlier, me throwing something out of the window of my car or trashing poorly, it's a personal thing. It's a CBO, it's a local issue, and everybody thinks that small steps need to be taken for sure. But how do we encourage community-based organizations to participate and make a bigger impact in these areas? Karen, what do you think? And if anybody else has an answer, we'd love to see your hand up and just get some feedback from y'all.
Yeah, I think what's key is that we would include any representative of a CBO to join the Plastic Pact. And I think what's going to drive the success is that we all endorse the activities we develop to improve the current situation and create a circular economy for plastics. So if we all think that that's the best way, then we will have interventions, solutions, innovations, and we will mobilize resources to actually implement those as well. So it would be very helpful to have their voice, and that's why we really truly want to include the informal sector in the best possible way into the Plastic Pact.
Nice, thank you, Karen. Let me call on Peter as well. Peter, you want to add something to that?
Yeah, hi, just a couple of perspectives. So the Plastics Pact is a collection of really powerful voices. And I think through the Plastics Pacts in the UK and elsewhere, using those voices to amplify those messages, not just about prevention, but about trying to encourage citizens and consumers to choose the right items that are more likely to be recycled, or adopting reuse and refill behaviours, but also to understand the complexity of plastics and biodegradable plastic and all the different things that are very complicated. So RAP has several campaigns. We have our Recycle Now and our Clear on Plastics, which actually is being adopted by other plastics pacts for the context of those countries. So the communications is definitely part of the program that KPP will be developing in months to come. And that's where, through the supporters and members, we'll be trying to get them to share those messages. I just also wanted to pick up on one of the questions that was really relevant, again, to Kenya and to many countries where EPR regulations are being changed or being implemented, and a plastics pact. And we need legislation and we need it to be properly enforced. But the benefit of a plastics pact is it is about voluntary commitment and about action. And as Karin said, it's about dynamic innovation. This can happen quickly. We don't need to wait for long legislation. And so we are seeing action by plastics pacts starting very quickly. And this also is how businesses can support the EPR, not just on eliminating problematic items, designing packaging to have a greater value for the waste pickers, for specifying recycled content. And just one example, in the UK, we have a recycled content target, as the KPP does, and then the government has now putting this into law to mandate or to put a tax on packaging that doesn't have recycled content. So we are seeing the Plastics Pact and EPR, when they are working together in the same direction, have really powerful combined effects. So it's not one or the other. Together we are stronger, which is a message of the day, I think.
Nice. Thank you very much. In fact, I'm going to go back to Andrea Hellman's text from about 10:55 a couple of hours ago. He said, we need a great solution that the backbone of waste picker can generate a sufficient income. However, the market prices for recycled plastic is very high compared to virgin plastic. So Peter, I'm still going to come back to you on this. Recycled plastic needs a lot of attention in the process, including inclusive reduction capacity. I don't understand that. Attention in the process, inclusive reduction in capacity. So it must make also economic sense for the companies who are willing to use recycled plastic to start with manufacturing that product. If the product on the end becomes so expensive because of price of raw materials, the customers can't afford it. So for instance, to give an example, post-industrial clean, only one type of plastic, shredded and packaged, costs in Germany 35 shillings per kilogram. If we are going to consider to empower and help those who are in this space of especially the manufacturers of recycling, we must make sure that the value chain isn't broken, but it isn't expensive. So in that case, basically what he's saying is, if recycling costs more than getting something off the shelf that is a single-use plastic or whatever, what incentives can we bring? And especially when you're talking about what the government has done in terms of the law, what incentives can we bring to make it so that recycling can be cheaper? If removing taxes is something we should do, if coming up with tax incentives or tax breaks for companies that do recycling, for example, or something of the sort. What else can we do to make recycling more affordable, more profit-making for manufacturing companies?
Just briefly, this is why it's so powerful having the recyclers joined up to the Kenyan Plastics Pact, as well as the businesses who produce and place plastic on the market, because that's where actually one of the biggest barriers to recyclers is having robust, reliable end markets. So the fact you have, L'Oreal and big Co and everything signed up with Coca-Cola is really important, as well as having the recyclers such as Taka Solutions, because that brings scale for investment, for more efficiency, for greater volumes, and that will bring the price down for recycled plastics. We also know that having long-term contracts and commitments does bring the commitments for investment. We are seeing investment in the recycling sector in many countries where there's a plastics pact, driven by those targets and driven by that collaboration. So yeah, it's not easy, but obviously we are seeing also gas and oil prices rise globally now. And that disparity between virgin and recycled, which has been low for the last 18 months, is likely to be go the other way as virgin prices go up.
Nice, thank you, Peter. That's smart. I've got two hands up, Priyan and Anthony. Before I go on to them, I'm going to point out Peter Owini. He's talking about the plastic harvesting idea. He's asked that we share it. That's happening in Kisumu, in a small CBO he is in. He's going to put out his contacts. Anyone who's interested in doing that, please reach out to Peter. He seems like he's doing something out of his own heart, and we should definitely lift him up. Priyan Tana has her hand up. Priyan, you want to say something? I'm sure the host can find you and give you power to speak.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes, there you go. Speak, please.
Hello? Hello?
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Can
Go
you hear
ahead.
me?
Go ahead. Yes.
Hello?
Okay, I can hear you. I don't know if you can hear me, but I can hear you. Frian.
Hello?
Mic test.
Can I be heard?
I can hear you. Can you hear me? I think your speaker is the problem, Frian.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Fantastic. Good. First of all, congratulations to the Kenya Plastics Pact. Amazing work. It's finally here, and we look forward to working with you as KEPRO. I just wanted to respond also to this question about, the cost to circularity, and this conversation around, how much is it going to cost brands and owners to move this way? I can give you an example. We are dealing with bread bags and the recycling of it as an example. And the increase in that product has only been 0.05 shillings to the bread bag. And this allows us to actually now pick up the bread bags, work with CBOs, work with the recyclers, and we've actually now started to recycle this product, which currently or previous to that was all going to landfill. And according to the recyclers we've been having conversations with, there was no value in it. So this small subsidy of 0.05 shillings translates to less than a 0.1% in the product on the supermarket shelf. To put this into perspective, a lot of businesses face bigger increases through taxes, through forex changes, through raw material changes, through labor costs, and all these other costs that businesses see. These are the costs that we manage on a day-to-day basis, and having a tiny cost in dealing with sustainability and circularity is to me, from the conversations we're having, really not a big increase in having brands out there that talk the talk and walk the talk, right? So I want to encourage people to look at the bottom line cost. It's not that much. This is based on live examples that we're seeing, and the impacts that it really makes on the ground are huge. Just
before you go, does this translate into the 600,000+ tons of bottles for example, soda companies, or the plastics that are used for packaging oil products, or for the plastics that are used to package makeup, for example, because those are the fastest FMCGs that are based on plastic. Does that translate in the same fashion for those forms of plastic, or is this just specific to the bread bag?
Very good question, Tony. And the answer to that is there is a direct translation across the board. We have to remember that packaging amounts for anywhere between 1 to 5% of the product that we buy on the supermarket shelf. So if we take 100 shilling product, only 5 shillings on a higher side.
This is KTN News.
Furahia na Optiven.
Umetoa wapi gari mpya?
Optiven wametusort. Nunua any of our value-added properties ama redeem installment ya property yako. Kwa kila malipo ya 10,000 unapata 1 entry point kwenye draw ya Furahia na Optiven promotion. Airtime kushindaniwa kila siku, holiday kila wiki, shinda ploti na gari kila mwezi, na grand prize ya Mercedes-Benz C180. Furahia, shinde na Optiven.
wanaonekana wakilishi wetu katika huko parliament hawazungumzi pamoja, kila mmoja anatoa maoni yake mbalimbali. Kama wangalikutana pamoja na wajiulize shida yetu ni nini, kiini cha kutoa na kutokuwa na katiba mpya ni nini.
This is KTN News. KTN News. Get the whole story.
Hello there, good afternoon. I trust you well and your day is going great so far. Welcome to News Desk. Thank you very much for joining us as we inform you. So without any further ado, let's get you informed.
Children across much of Africa to be vaccinated against malaria in a historic moment in the fight against the deadly disease, with the World Health Organization saying the vaccine should be rolled out in regions with moderate to high malaria transmission. The 4 principles of One Kenya Alliance set to meet the Mount Kenya Forum today as the forum seeks to chart the political way forward for the region. And government begins the distribution of 2 billion worth of relief food to drought-ravaged regions as hundreds of families go for days without food.
I am Ashley Mazuri. Now let's begin with some politics. The Mount Kenya Forum is now set to meet the 4 principles in One Kenya Alliance this afternoon after the engagement was postponed last week. The forum, which brings together billionaires and multi-millionaires from Mount Kenya region, has been giving opposition leaders an opportunity to share their manifestos before they finally decide who they will support to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta. But as our senior political affairs reporter Chris Thairu reports, politicians from the Mount Kenya region and who support Deputy President William Ruto to succeed President Uhuru Kenyatta have dismissed the meetings, terming them as a ploy to instigate hate and tribalism.
After members of the Mount Kenya Forum held a meeting with ODM party leader Raila Odinga last week in a bid to be convinced why they should invest in his presidential bid, the 4 principals in One Kenya Alliance, Musalia Mudavadi, Gideon Moi, Moses Wetangula and Kalonzo Musyoka, now have a date with the members of the exclusive club of billionaires in Mount Kenya Thursday afternoon.
And we have agreed that the principals will be there tomorrow. As party officials and members of